At what point did you realize what Belichick's game plan was against you guys in taking Marshall Faulk out of the offense?
Well, it wasn't just Marshall, but I think we realized very early that their approach was going to be, we're going to beat these guys up. We're going to grab them and hold them and be physical with them, because our offense was all about timing, all about ball out before guys are breaking and all of that stuff. So I truly believe they went into this and said, the officials don't like to call a lot of penalties. They don't.
Well, they were doing what Seattle did in the Legion of Boom. They were manhandling you guys at the line of scrimmage.
Exactly.
Saying, you're not going to throw. How many pass interference flags are you going to throw?
Right, especially early in the
Super
game.
Bowl, yeah.
And that's what happened. Is early in the game they just threw us off because they were so physical. In the second half, they started to call some of those penalties. Things loosened up. We were able to get back into the game and tie it late in the game. But I look back and I go, what a genius approach. I mean, to go, let's force them to call penalties. We know they don't want to slow this game down and have a bunch of, the officials, dictating what the game is. So let's do it until they force us not to do it, because it's really who we were. And, so I tip my hat to them with that game plan. And then, as you said, the other nugget that they had was they put two linebackers on the edge of the line of scrimmage. And every time Marshall released from the backfield in one of their directions, grab him, hit him, hold, don't let him get going out of the backfield. And so, but that was the beginning of what you came to realize is Bill Belichick and his ability to design things. The ironic thing, we played him earlier that year, during the season. And during that game, they went with 7 DBs, and they were giving us all these crazy looks. And so you prepare for that, and then we go into the Super Bowl, and we didn't see any of that stuff. It was completely different. But that's who Bill Belichick is you don't have no idea what they did last week, 2 weeks ago, what they did to you earlier in the year. Even if they beat you, doesn't mean they're going to do the same thing. So you've got to be ready to adjust to whatever you see on Super Bowl Sunday.
Did you have any idea that you're watching a potential Hall of Famer in Tom Brady at that point?
Absolutely not. I mean, he did win the Super Bowl MVP in that game, but I believe he threw for like 150 yards or less than 150 yards. The only thing I'll say is what Tom Brady has, he's great in so many different ways, but what makes him so special is how good he is in the moment. When they need that one drive. We see it time and time again. We saw it against Kansas City a couple weeks ago. And if there was one thing that you can look back and go, maybe that was a little glimpse. We tied the game with 2 minutes to go. And he made a couple big throws, a couple great decisions.
Well, John Madden famously said, you're not going to try to win it with Brady. You're going to go into overtime. And next thing you know, he connects on a couple of passes. Vinatieri kicks.
And we thought the same thing, because we had taken the momentum of the game and we thought, well, they're not going to come out here and throw it because of incomplete passes or whatever happens. We get the ball back. We're going to win this football game.
Yeah.
And if you go back and look at that Super Bowl, the very first pass they threw, Leonard Little, was about 2 inches from knocking the ball away from Tom Brady, and he steps up and eludes that and drops one off. But that was maybe the one thing that you saw when you look back and go, he was pretty good in that moment. He was pretty good at making those plays in that 2-minute drive. And you look back now, 8 Super Bowls, every one has been dictated by one score. Every game that he's played in has come down to a one-possession game, and obviously, he's won a bunch of them, and it's because he's so good in that moment.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.